Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Briefing for Monday, February 5th, 2024. Starting with the precipitation here, we can see the past 7 days of precip on the left and 30 days percent of normal on the right. We've had some precip over the past week, especially over Idaho and Utah, although there is a big storm coming in right now that's bringing quite a bit of precip to portions of western Nevada. The 30-day percent of normal shows near to above normal precip over southern Idaho and across portions of Utah, especially the higher elevations, and again drier over Nevada and central Idaho, but that's changing over Nevada right now. The snowfall for the past 24 hours is shown here. This is what I'm talking about with that storm system moving in the atmospheric river, if you want to call it that. Here, a lot of this precip is moving into California, but we can see it starting to spill over into Nevada over the past day or so. And these snowfall amounts here in the orange are going to be in that 12 to 18 inches range. So pretty good snow maker for the higher elevations of the Front Range in Nevada and some of the higher peaks in central Nevada as well. Current snow depth is shown here. We do have some of our areas, central Idaho, western Wyoming, and the mountains of Utah are getting closer to normal for the time of year. Central Idaho is still a little bit light in some of those areas, but the recent storms have definitely helped our snow depth. And then the snowpack as well, kind of telling the same story. Those values are around normal for much of Utah and Nevada. Northern Nevada and southwest Idaho is where we're seeing above average snowpack. But the central Idaho mountains and even portions of western Wyoming are below normal for the time of year, although not significantly below normal, but definitely needing some precip up there. And then the Sierra Front, those values are also below normal, but expecting to see a good precip event this week. Okay, so let's look at satellite imagery for this morning. We've got this nice low pressure trough in place across the entire western U.S., bringing that subtropical moisture up into Southern California and into southern portions of the Great Basin, really moisture all along the west coast here. So this storm system is going to be moving through the Great Basin this week, bringing precip pretty much every day through the work week. Okay, so again for this afternoon, that low along the west coast, drawing moisture right up into the Great Basin. Ventilation rates are pretty high across much of the area. Transport winds shown here on the left, showing some breezy conditions across much of the basin, especially across central Nevada and up into western Utah. Mixing heights are pretty high in Nevada, a little bit lower on the eastern half of the region. Maximum temperatures today are pretty warm out there actually on the southwest flow ahead of that main low. Highs in the 40s, even up into the low 50s in Boise and some spots in Nevada today. So most of the precip, especially at lower elevations, is going to come in the form of rain snow, with some snow at the higher elevations. Again, looking at the precip percent probability today, much of the basin should expect to see some precipitation if they're not already. A couple drier pockets out there. Southeast Utah is going to stay dry today. On Tuesday, the low remains the main story as it continues to drop a little bit further south and slowly make its way eastward. Still looking for another precip day tomorrow with still slightly elevated temperatures. Ventilation rates are still pretty good over Utah, Nevada, maybe lower, a little bit lower across Idaho. Those transport winds picking up across Utah, southern and southeast Utah tomorrow as that low starts to shift slowly eastward. And then the mixing heights are pretty high in Utah on Tuesday, but decreasing a bit elsewhere. Beginning on Wednesday, we'll start to see that low moving across or overhead over the Great Basin, bringing some cooler temperatures into the area. Continued chance for showers in many portions of the basin. Ventilation rates are pretty high everywhere on Wednesday. Transport winds pick up along the Snake River Plain and really just lingering over far southern Utah and the Arizona Strip on Wednesday. Mixing heights are pretty high, especially over western Utah and Nevada, a little bit lower elsewhere. The The forecasted clearing index for Utah for the next 3 days is shown here. Pretty high values, especially over the lower elevations for the next few days. And those values decrease a bit over some of our higher elevations. All right, 3-day precip totals are shown here. This is today through late in the day on Wednesday. We can see a good chance of precip over much of the Great Basin. Southern Nevada, mountains of northern Utah, and eastern Idaho are where we should expect to see the highest precip amounts. We're already seeing precip in those areas. High elevation snow, low elevation rain. On Thursday, that low finally begins to move eastward and kind of kick out of the Great Basin, but we could still see some showers lingering on Thursday. Ventilation rates remain pretty good. And then same kind of story on Friday, just some lingering moisture, although we will see chances for precip really decreasing as we head into the weekend. Cooler temperatures, though, as that low hangs over the area. Continue, and we'll really kind of start to dry out by Saturday with a significant decrease in precipitation across the area. Ventilation rates stay elevated over Utah and Nevada, decreasing over Idaho. And more of the same on Sunday with this little cutoff low over the southwest. We're dry over the basin with near normal temperatures, let's say that. Ventilation rates okay, fair over southern Utah and southern Nevada, but decreasing across the north. And precip accumulations for days 4 and 5 are shown here. Again, just looking for each day a little bit of precip here and there, especially over the higher elevations of Utah. Not really heavy precip amounts expected over Idaho as we move into the second half of the work week, and then precip really decreasing Friday into the weekend. The extended forecast for February 12th through the 18th keeps cooler temperatures in place over the basin, but it looks like we are going to be moving into a little bit of a dry period over the area as the precip remains to the south. And that concludes today's briefing. Please check back on Wednesday for the latest updates.